Hey, was.
Hey Coxie, I'm anxious.
No, you should be excited because Apple have just announced a brand new product geared towards pirates.
Okay.
It's called the eye patch.
Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nic unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
And we're back. And I don't even know how to respond or react to that one, Coxie.
I reckon all the Johnny Depp fans will think that one's okay.
Yeah. I think you're either a Johnny Depp fan or a Johnny Depp hater.
We're all fans.
Kind of like everything these days. It's just, it's black or it's white. It's like there's these opposing views on everything, but there's no sort of melding through the middle, and I feel like there's no appreciation that everything is a spectrum or that whole like scale.
I think you're wrong.
Okay. You should put that on Facebook. We could start a really good thread. You're either in the Nic camp or the Waz camp.
We did ask a client just this week.
Oh, that was awful.
It was funny.
How uncomfortable they were too.
It was so funny.
Really sorry to do that to you.
We have good friendly competition here at Tradies and Business, don't we, Warwick?
You call it friendly. I call it emotionally damaging.
That's because I keep winning.
Yes. I feel very inadequate.
Oh, dear. No, I do agree with you. I don't think that I think we've lost sight of the fact everything is a spectrum and everything's relative. I think that's the other thing. We become so fixated on our own steadfast, firm opinion. There's no space for the fact that it might actually be a totally different experience for somebody else, perhaps even your life partner.
That's right. And it all depends on context and experience, and what we believe is the best way this week might change next week, given new information. And I will stray a little bit into personal opinion here. I think a lot of the problems that we face in society these days is because people get very attached to the right way, and we teach our tradiepreneurs, Coxie, about possibilities and that, moving away from the point scoring that is driven by our egos, sort of the dark side of our egos, where we're just out to prove ourselves right. We don't care what the cost of that is. We don't care how that impacts others, but we just need to be right so that we feel good about ourselves. And to entertain the idea that maybe there's other possibilities feels like you can just see people, the fear in their eyes. Just the idea even that maybe there's some other possibilities here. It's like, don't be preposterous, Waz. How dare you suggest that there's more than one way
I think
for
it's
anything?
a bit woo-woo, but there's no right or wrong. And yet, you know what? I'll own that. That is a bit woo-woo. And I'd remind you all to go and watch The Matrix. There's 3. Is there now 4, or there's a 4th one coming, to get a good reminder that perhaps reality isn't what we think it is.
4th one was a cracker.
Maybe there is an opportunity for us all to look a little differently at everything that's going on in our lives.
That's another cracking example, Coxie, is you look at movie critics and reviews. And I read the reviews when the 4th Matrix movie came out, or the 5th. I should know. I'm a huge Matrix fan. I'm sorry. I feel like I've let the team down.
You really?
Whatever the last one was, it's been a long time since they made the previous last movie. And it was a brain bender, and I thought it was a fantastic call out on that whole, so you think you know what's real, huh? And the reviews were pretty bad. Like, it didn't get great scores. There was, all this criticism of it, and that it fell short of the mark. And I thought, well, hang on, you've kind of missed the message in the movie. Maybe you're reviewing the digital effects or some other thing that you were looking for as an expectation, and it didn't meet that, and so you're saying the movie's bad, which is kind of the whole right wrong thing. It's like, well, their view is apparently the view, And I watched it anyway, and I thought it was great. I loved the message and the brain-bendery nature of it. And what I loved even more was the fact that my wife kept asking me questions while we were watching it, which she does. And I love her for it. It's so funny. We have a good laugh about it. But she's one of those people watching a movie where she's like, oh, so this and this and this and that guy did this. So he's actually not the thing. And I'm like, yes, honey. And in my mind, I'm like, can you just please be quiet so I can enjoy the movie?
Oh, dear. Okay, well, I'm still not going to see Top Gun. There, I said it. No interest.
You wash your mouth out with soap, Coxie.
I cannot stand.
Or jet fuel.
Tom. He's not my favourite. In fact, I really despise him. And so it's blurred my mind and I don't think I can see it.
Listeners, listen.
That's a bit of a tongue twister straight out of the gate.
I know. We have something we want to talk to you about, gang. And it's related to mountains of paperwork. So if you are sick and tired of those mountains of paperwork, I probably shouldn't laugh, and the stress around getting paid, issuing invoices on time, figuring out how much cash you've got coming in and going out, reconciling bank accounts, blah, blah, blah. I feel tired just talking about that, Mr. Coxie.
I want to yawn.
Then we're actually really stoked to be able to share a new solution to all of that with you called Parpera.
I want to spell it.
Oh, you spell it, Coxie. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm jumping here. That's Parpera. Parpera. I love it. It's got a ring to it. Now, the gang at Parpera have put together a coordinated solution to your banking, invoicing, cash flow management, tax reporting, and more. I already feel relieved. How are you feeling?
It's a load off my shoulders, Coxie.
Me too. You can manage your business bank account, issue invoices, receive payments faster, schedule invoicing reminders, and even capture receipts to make tax time easier. Hallelujah. All within one single app.
What, I don't need 7 apps and a shoebox for all of that?
No. Not even the ute floor.
All right. So Parpera is a super cool app. And as a Tradies in Business listener, you get an exclusive 90 days, so that's 3 months for those who aren't sort of au fait with maths and stuff, free trial offer. Basically, you get 3 months free to check it out. All you've got to do is use the code 90DFTradie, so that's 90DF for Freddy, Tradie, up until the 30th of June 2022 when you download the app from the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Make sure you read the T's and C's with all of this stuff. But go and check it out, download it, get your 90 days free. Have a go, have a play. It might actually solve a lot of problems for you. Wifey doesn't like him either.
Oh, he's a creep.
Yes, she says the same thing.
Ugh.
So there you go. You're either in the Tom is the hottest thing on the planet camp or the he's a creep and he's got a weird gap in his tooth that doesn't line up with his nose camp.
Hang on. Does my gap line up with my nose now that you said that?
Yeah, yours is
feeling really vulnerable now.
Anywho, you should, apart from listening to us dribble on, you should go and check out Parpera. We've been talking about that a bit lately. Parpera is a super cool app. Everyone loves a new app, right?
Yes.
But Parpera is an app that's going to stick it to the banks. And I hope Dan Canizzaro, the founder, is okay with me saying that. Basically, they are putting power back in your hands as a small business owner and helping you get control of your money, your finances, your banking, and actually beating the banks, I guess, at the game of looking after your money and making it easy and cheap to actually do your small business banking. So definitely go check out the Parpera app, Parpera. There's a special offer, which we'll tell you more about in... Hello?
I can tell you. I found it.
Oh, right.
There's a code. You can use a code to get a 90-day free trial. Now, that runs out on the 30th of June. So if you're listening to this after that, sorry. But go and check it out anyway. If you're listening before then, the code is 9090DFTradie. You'll find more details in the show notes, so you won't miss out altogether. Great opportunity for you to get in and give it a go for 90 days, totally free. I was super impressed when we had a chat to the founder. Really enjoyed our chat. Really excited about what this might actually do for banking, and specifically banking for small business. So please take a moment to go and check it out.
So we are talking about possibilities, and this really leans into something that we see with our tradiepreneur community, because we're quite privileged as coaches to work very closely with a lot of our tradiepreneurs, and especially a lot of our tradiepreneur couples.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a challenge that faces a lot of, well, any couples, not just couples in business, Coxie. I mean, you and I, thank goodness, are not a couple in the sense of that word. I mean, I love you to bits as a friend and a business partner and kind of a sister from another mister. And
could not live with you.
I have a lot of respect for the builder. So
he will be pleased to know that somebody understands his pain.
But Coxie, we see so many couples struggle to find alignment, lasting alignment, when it comes to not just running their business together, but I guess doing life together. And
it's not easy.
There's this gap, not like the one in your teeth.
I'm really self-conscious about it now. It isn't easy. And I personally have had to do a lot of learning around this myself even. Being aligned doesn't necessarily mean that you are, this is going to be a little bit controversial. It doesn't mean that you're working towards the same goals. There just needs to be a little commonality to your goals. Like we've had some really big sessions with some of our clients where their goals are polar opposites. However, when we work through what those goals actually are and why we want to achieve those XYZ things, generally they're for the exact same reasons that the other person in the partnership wants to achieve their own version of XYZ goal. So for example, how could I know one, I'll use one of my own. I'm not a camper. And as many of you know, at the beginning of this year, we purchased a caravan. I don't like camping. It's never been my thing. I don't like sharing a bathroom. I like to have valet parking. I like to be, I like fine dining. I like to be wooed. I like a warm, comfy bed that's bigger than a double size. I'm not really a camper, but I love time away and reconnection with the builder. I adore it. It is my most favorite thing in the world. We have an incredibly busy life with 5 kids, 3 businesses, rush. There's always 100 things to do. The builder, however, loves camping. He adores time outside. He likes the simplicity of being in a caravan, or for him, probably better still would have been the camper trailer we had originally. And so we did a lot of talking and soul searching around Christmas time and realized actually that what we were trying to get to was the same sense of feeling and togetherness that we each have when we take that time away. And so we made some agreements around what that might look like for each of us and how we could bring that together. So we found some possibilities around what caravan life might look like for us as a couple moving forward, so that we could tick some of the builder's boxes and tick some of my boxes. And yeah, okay, there's some bits I still don't like, and there's some bits that he then does that he might not necessarily like, but we're working together towards the commonness of what those 2 goals were. And that was reconnection and time together. And so every month we trottle off in our van and we take a long weekend together, and we spend time outdoors doing the things that we both love to do. He gets very annoyed every single time that he's got to pack my bicycle and then join me for a bike ride. And I love it. And it makes me happy. And then he's happy as well. But my point is, we could have stayed at those polar opposites, with me always insisting that we go to 5-star hotels and he always insisting that we go out in the camper trailer. And so we came together, we looked at all of the possibilities, and we came up with what was best to achieve the desired outcome that both of us had in those different goals. Man, I stuffed that up, but different goals.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, thanks. Hope our listeners did too. Perhaps they're wondering about the gap in my teeth. So we were able to move forward then in commonality instead of moving forward in friction. And unfortunately, what we see a lot of the time is getting stuck in those friction points based around, well, I want to pay off the house first. Well, I want to invest in some investment property first. Or I want to go on an overseas holiday. Or I actually just want to backpack around the southeast corner. You know, we really get stuck in the differences instead of taking the opportunity to have a look at what the possibilities are that might actually meet the needs that we both have in common, because generally we will have them in common.
such a great example, Coxie, as per normal, of figuring out what matters most. And I think it's another symptom of getting stuck on what's right instead of what's important. And a lot of us are very stuck on what we think is best.
Yes.
And sometimes that's actually driven by fear, our own personal fear of loss or embarrassment, or, concept of risk and all those sorts of things that come up in business and in life in general, rather than actually sitting down and, as you say, working with your partner and actually getting clear on what's important, what's the highest value. And I love to talk to people about, okay, so in 10 years' time, if you look back on those 10 years, will this be the most important aspect of that decision? Or, will it be the most important thing that you get this system perfect? Or is it more important that you find a way to get it done? Which is a common place where our tradiepreneur couples get stuck. One is often very attached to getting it right. And the other is either not attached to getting it right and wants it done, or is just disengaged altogether because it's just too hard to, inverted commas, please the other person. And so I think where there's a lack of that open discussion about, okay, well, let's have a look at what's most important, and is there some common values between us that actually supersedes the headbutting about your way versus my way. And that's a place where I've certainly gotten stuck in my life, in previous lives. So I've had a couple of marriage campaigns in my lifetime, tours of duty, and this is my final tour. So it's been a real central theme to the success of my marriage now, is both parties, both my wife and I, being willing to come back to, okay, what's most important to both of us, instead of your way versus my way.
It's not always the easiest thing to do independently. I'm free. I happily tell you all of the time, I have coaches in many areas of my life, and one of those is a marriage coach. We have someone that advocates for both of us when we require it. It helps us have some of the tough conversations, or brings us back to the page we've agreed we will want to be on. I don't necessarily do this without the outside perspective and the assistance in some of those tough conversations, so that we can see or find that commonality in what we're talking about. And we don't do it in business either. You and I have had some robust conversations in our business as business partners. We have many coaches. We actually work with two quite closely just at the moment. We've worked with others before. We consistently have coaches in our own space because we understand the value of having that outside perspective to help us make the right decisions for us and a business and our clients moving forward. So I think it's a great understanding for us all to know that nobody does this successfully 100% of the time on their own. And there are opportunities out there for you to find your own type of coach that works best for you to help you navigate some of these waters, whether it be in the business. We have many of our couples that start with us and they're at odds and they're finding it challenging, or one's more motivated than the other, or there are constant battles, I'll call it for what it is, within the business and then within the relationship. And with some outside perspective and some, I guess, open and frank conversations and some opportunities for growth and learning and being okay with looking at all the possibilities, generally we can find some harmony, because there is nearly always harmony in what you're both trying to achieve. Generally, it boils right back down to the fact that tradie's trying to provide for his family and tradie wife is trying to provide for the family, and you're both trying to do the best you can for each other and the family And often we have different perspectives around what that might look like for one another. And so when we bring you all back onto the one page and we explore all of the possibilities that are available to you, there is always some harmony that we can pick up on and move together with. It doesn't have to be something you do totally on your own. And yet, I think many of us think we've got to battle it out and do it on our own. And we're quite ashamed to talk about the fact that sometimes marriage is tough. Sometimes business is tough. Yep, it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people lose sight of why they got together in the first place and what was at the basis of their connection. And that gets blanketed and buried under the day-to-day drudgery and stresses and strains and all the external factors that influence all of our relationships, whether it's a business partnership, a marriage partnership, a relationship with a team member or whatever. I think it's so easy to lose sight of, well, what are we doing this for? And it's a question that stumps a lot of trade business owners that we talk to is, so are you doing all of this? And we get lots of blank stares. And I think it's something else that really plays into these problems is an unwillingness for individuals to let go of their view and actually have a look at what they are doing to create that situation, create that rift, or perpetuate those problems. And that sort of drifts off to another principle that we talk about a lot here of ownership and responsibility. But it's still such a key aspect is we have to take responsibility for the fact that as an individual, we play a part in the collective outcome. So as a husband, I influence the behaviors and emotions and everything of my wife. And it's not because I make her feel a certain way, but I certainly can make her feel uncomfortable. Well, I can't make her feel uncomfortable. She feels uncomfortable when I'm a grumpy bugger. And I could say, well, that's your problem, honey, for getting all weird just because I'm grumpy. But the thing is, if that's my view, then that's just going to continue that way. Yeah. And we're going to drift off in our separate directions. And she's going to be thinking, well, he's grumpy and that's why I feel uncomfortable. And I'm going to go, well, I'm grumpy because you're weird and feeling uncomfortable. And so that's what we get. That's the result we get.
I'm seeing a theme here for you. Previous tours of duty.
I'm a slow learner. So, there has to be a willingness to say, okay, let me have a look at myself and see what I'm doing. What behaviors am I actually exhibiting that are contributing to this collective result? And a lot of this goes back to if you're in a partnership, if you're working with your significant other in your business, one simple way to get more alignment is to agree to agree. Let's agree to agree, because there's this dumb thing that us humans do where we go, well, let's just agree to disagree. I think that's stupid. That is such a negative, destructive thing to do, because then you both just go away resenting the other person. It doesn't get you anywhere. What if you agreed to agree and then figure out what can you agree to agree on? And I think, Coxie, it goes back to your example of van life versus 5-star life. And it's, well, let's agree to agree on what's most important to both of us and find that common ground, that common goal. The common goal for you guys is to connect at a deeper level, to have quality time with each other. What are some possible ways we could do that works for both of us? Instead of, well, if I'm going to go away on holidays, I want to stay in a 5.5-star hotel.
6 stars preferably, but there aren't many of those in Australia.
And so that's not going to end well. They're two completely different trajectories. And then we wonder why we end up struggling to work with our partner.
These aren't quick lessons to learn. I think lots of us learn these later than we probably should. And so take it from two of Australia's best business coaches that have had a few tours of duty each and might have a bit of experience they could actually share with you here, both in business and personally. We've both had to do a lot of personal learning, a lot of growth to be able to share it, even just to talk frankly about this stuff with our clients and you guys here on the podcast. And what we talk about is tried and true. We've tried it time and time again. It's been prescribed for at least me through my marriage counselor or my marriage coach, various other advocates and people that have taught me along the way. And it's worked. It really works. I have a great connection with my husband. We have a wonderful relationship, and we've had some pretty heavy shit to work our way through. And you can too. It doesn't need to be the horrible, uncomfortable, leaky situation where you are at odds in business or you are at odds within the relationship, because they do unfortunately meld. Even if you're not working together, you will still feel the pressure and expectation of each other. And some good conversations where you're prepared to sit in that uncomfortable space for a bit and really work through to find that commonality can make huge changes to the way you guys do relationships, both as marriage partners or life partners or business partners.
Now, speaking of tours of duty, Coxie.
Yes!
We have a tour coming up.
And it will be of duty because we have to do it together.
And we're going to hate every second of it, except when we're delivering awesome content to you, listeners, for free.
I can't wait to see you.
We're hitting the road for our Australian World Tour. Typical tongue-in-cheek fashion for us here at Tradies in Business.
Mm-hmm.
But Coxie and I have been working very hard on some new content. So we're bringing a new free training to you as a trade business owner. We're going to be hitting, I think, 7 venues currently around the country, from Brisbane to Hobart and Adelaide and everywhere in between. We're hitting the road in July and August. So we want to give you the opportunity to actually get along and learn from us and our tradiepreneurs. We're going to be sort of sharing a bit of behind the scenes content from our tradiepreneur program and delivering that to you in our 21 ways to transform your trade business. There's going to be a little bit of wankery business coach stuff. There are going to be a lot of laughs and a whole stack of awesome content, tips, tools, and strategies just to help you make some change as we roll into the new financial year and basically perhaps reduce some of the stresses that are contributing to that misalignment in your relationships. So there'll be some tools in there that'll help with that as well. All the deets are on the website. There's a pop-up thingamajig to annoy the crap out of you. So if you want to head to our website, you can find the details there on our world tour. And you should get along and meet us in the flesh, IRL.
IRL. I'm trying to think of all the others and then I stuff it up. So I'm just not going to. I'm not that cool. What I do want to say is maybe just a reminder, at the beginning of the year, we made a determination we wanted to impact 1,000 trade business owners to help them find a space that felt like getting off the tools for them. Now, that might just be more organization in your business. It might be that you actually get off the tools for a day a week, or you quote within working hours, whatever that might look like for you, what your version is. This is a big part of that. This free training, I promise it's free. It's not a great big salesy event where we're going to lock you in the room till you sign up and sign your life away. It is actually your opportunity to come and learn from us, have some fun. We will have a few laughs, take away 21 of our top tips and tricks and tools, and maybe there's some free bonuses in there as well to help you actually facilitate some change in your business so that you don't have to be in that state of chaos and stress that so many of us are right at the moment.
Come and meet us in the flesh. Come and learn how to get more alignment and some other cool stuff that's going to change your business, change your life, all that sort of stuff that business coaches talk about. And we can't avoid it because really, let's just be honest here, if you want to make change, you've got to do something different to what you've been doing. So get along to one of those events and meet us in the flesh. We'd love to meet some more of our listeners. Make sure you identify yourself as a podcast listener if you do come along. We'd love to see who is listening to us and perhaps book you in for some therapy. And apart from that, that's another episode, Coxie.
Thanks for listening.
Hooroo.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.